In this time of quarantine, we all need to feel a little bit closer to one another, and what better way to do that than with a custom-built smart picture frame that allows you to send pictures to your loved ones from anywhere in the world. Want to find out how to create this? Stay tuned, it's coming up right here, right now on M.I. Sperry. Okay guys, so as the intro said, we're going to be checking out how to build our very own cloud-based smart picture frame. So what I wanted to do is, you see all the smart picture frames out there, but I wanted one that was really cool. And the way to do that is to hook it to the cloud. So in this video, we're going to be making a picture frame that you upload to your favorite cloud repo. I'm going to use Dropbox, but you basically upload pictures to it, and this device will automatically synchronize and bring those pictures down and then display them and show them to you. So to get started in this, let's get over to parts. We're going to need a picture frame. I'm going to have links down in the description to all of this stuff, and yes, they are affiliate links, so by clicking on those links you will help out the channel, so go ahead and do that for me. That would be great. But anyway, links down below. Gonna get a picture frame. We're gonna need a display, so I'm gonna use one of these little touchscreen displays, a little 7-inch display. We're also going to use some cabling. We need a USB right angle cable. We also need a right angle HDMI cable so we can plug this in. And of course, we need a Raspberry Pi. Now, I'm just using a 3B Plus because that's what I had laying around. Should be able to use this with pretty much anything. It's not going to be real super labor intensive for the Raspberry Pi. So if you got an old Raspberry Pi kicking around, that'll work just as fine. So just go ahead and grab that and put it together. All right. So as we get into this, once we get that stuff, we're going to put this together. So first things first, though, we're going to need some bezels and stuff, because in this picture frame, I took it apart, and in the back of it, we're going to take this backing off, and we're going to be building kind of our own backing that's going to house all the electronics. How do we do that, you say? Well, we do that with good old 3D printing. So I have designed here basically kind of a clamshell type situation. So what we've got is we've got our display that's going to be on the back. We've got kind of a vented back piece, so that way, you know, heat and stuff like that can get out. But if we take that vented back piece off, or at least rather we'll take the front off of it and remove the display, what we have for it, I can get it to go away, is we have some mounting spots for the Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi will mount inside of this. There's some standoffs that are on the bottom that will mount the Raspberry Pi. Then basically we've got our display will be sitting there basically, and the display will actually mount to the inner case, which if I turn that off, you can see that there are some standoffs basically right there. And then because our display is basically has the HDMI on the side, we've got to have a little bit of a notch cut out, because that right angle connector is pretty good size. So we'll need that space, extra space to put in there. But we've got some holes drilled that we're going to be putting in there for some basically M4 screws. We got a couple little small holes down here at the bottom punched through here. I punched some on either side, top and bottom, but they're really not needed. But it's going to be a way of anchoring this inside of the frame, okay? And we'll see that in a minute when we assemble it. But we're going to be using some nails and putting that together. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get all of these pieces, minus the display, but these two different clamshell pieces, we need to get those 3D printed out. So let's go to the printer. Now guys, real quick, just wanted to let you know, I discovered the whole notch thing later on, so I didn't want to have to reshoot everything, so I'm just letting you guys see the portion of the video of how I assembled everything. But know that the notch out I discovered later on, and so that's actually the way it needs to be. But here you go. Okay, got done with the 3D printing, so here's our two pieces. Came out pretty good. Here's our inner piece, so that should sit right inside the frame, just like that. So there we go. Of course, you can't tell. And then this can sit inside. This will go on the outside of this, and it's a little tight, so I'll probably expand that out for the files. But basically, it will go on over the top. All of our deals will line up. So we'll go ahead and we'll put some tacks inside this, and then we'll probably take this and I've got like a little hinge. I may reuse the same hinge that it has on it. and just basically kind of like pop rivet it on or glue it on or something like that to give it a kickstand. So shouldn't be too terrible. I think that's probably what we'll do is we'll probably just hot glue it on, and that'll probably be good enough to put that kickstand back on there. So not a big deal, not real worried about it. If you guys wanted to, you could probably model something in. So in any case, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure everything fits. Okay guys, so I printed this out again, and you know what? I've printed this bezel about 2 or 3 times. Come to find out, my printer is mirrored from my software. So great, so everything that I do, it's actually going to be on the wrong side. So instead of printing this out like 3 or 4 more times, I'm just going to mod it. The files down below and the link and everything are correct. This notch is on the correct side. Everything is actually correct. The hole is perfect for it and everything. It's just my printer and my settings. And honestly, I don't want to print this about 6, 7 more times trying to figure out which way I need to mirror and flip things in the software. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to notch it, and I will fix that for future videos. But just letting you know, the model files are perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and notch this, get it reinstalled into the brim. We also reprinted the back housing because it needed to be thicker because this cable is so big and sticks up so far. I reprinted it, made it a little bit thicker, and so we should be good to go. So let me get this all mounted back up, get this notched, and then we'll see if we can't get it all enclosed up. Okay guys, so on to the software portion. So what we're going to need to do to get this thing up and running is we're going to install rclone, which is a way of cloning excuse me, online repositories. We're going to be using Dropbox for this today. So I've got my Dropbox up here, at least a simple one. I've thrown some pictures. So we're going to basically synchronize that and pull it down. So what we're going to use to do that is going to be called rclone. So to install rclone, we need to download it. So we're going to go ahead and do this by entering the command curl rclone.org/install.sh, and we're gonna do that under the bash. Okay, looks like it did its thing. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually VNC over to our Pi, or if you're just physically on it, you could do it that way. Okay guys, so now at this point rclone should be installed. So rclone version, if we can do that. So rclone is installed. Now we're going to do an rclone config. And so what this is going to do is now it's going to ask you for some different configurations. So we're going to choose our service. So we're going to say we want a new remote. So N. We're going to name it, I think I named it Picture Cloud, I think is what I named it. Now, storage, it's going to ask you, and it's going to give you a list, see, of all the different ones that you're going to do. So you have to choose your service. We're going to be using Dropbox, so we're going to be using option number 9 here. So 9 is going to be our Dropbox. So Dropbox client. Press enter for the client ID. We're going to leave that blank. Same thing with the secret. We're going to leave that blank. Then we're going to go to edit the advanced config. We're going to say no at this point in time. So we're going to set up the auto config. Yes, we want to set up auto config. Authorize rclone. So this is where I believe it should prompt us once we do that. And there's our Dropbox. And then it's going to ask us for us to sign in to Dropbox. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll be right back. Okay, so once you're finished, you will be seeing this rclone would like to access the files and folders on your Dropbox. Do you want to allow it? Yes, I want to allow it. And then you get the success all done. So now you can close the screen, so we can get rid of that. So we're going to say yes to this question. So everything installed okay, so yes. Now we can set and do a quit. So there we go. So now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create probably a folder for our stuff to go. So I'm just going to use the built-in pictures folder that's right here. So I'm going to cd to pictures. Okay. And as you can see, there's nothing in pictures. If I do an LL or a long listing, ls-l, either way, there's nothing in there. So to clone your repository, what you do is, remember how we named it? We named it Picture Cloud. What we're going to be wanting to do is synchronizing, which means if I delete it off the cloud and then run sync on the Pi, it will delete files off of the Pi and keep them in sync. If I put files up onto Dropbox and then do a sync on the Pi, it will download them to the Pi. So it synchronizes whatever you do on Dropbox, it will do on the Pi when you do sync. To do this, we're going to type rclone, we're going to type sync, and we want our Picture Cloud : and then we're going to put that here. So you can either do a dot, or if you want to do the full path, I can do, let's see, it's going to be home, Pi, and pictures. All right. So either way you want to do it, hit enter. This may take it a little bit because it's going to have to actually download all of those. So it's going to take me a minute. I'll pause the video and then we'll be back once it's finished downloading. All right. Okay, guys. So it looks like it is finished. It's returned me back to my deal. So now if I perform a long listing so I'm going to clear this out. If I perform a long listing here, now I have all of them on my Raspberry Pi. So now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to synchronize basically on the fly. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a cron job out of this. Okay. So I'm going to have links down in the description for the shell script that I'm going to upload here. So that way you guys can download them. I'll have them on my GitHub. So check out the GitHub link and I'll do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get out of our VNC session because I don't need this anymore. So we'll go ahead and get out of VNC. Yes, I want to disconnect. And we'll just go back to this. Right here in the root folder, we're going to VI or Nano. You can use Nano. And create a new one, get pictures if you want, .sh. And then we're just going to paste that in and put this down where we're at. And I'll go through this to let you know kind of what's going on. So what we're doing is we're checking to see, so we're doing this if PID of -o, and then we're getting the PID, basically the process ID. That's what this if then is doing, is it's checking to see if there's any other PIDs of get pictures. And I just see a thing that I need to correct. I need to make that lowercase. So now all it's going to do is it's just going to run this rclone is what it's going to do. In fact, I need to put that in here. There we go. That looks better. So now it's going to run the rclone sync command, and it's just going to sync. Okay, and so let's go ahead and change mode. We're going to add execute to this, to our get pictures, and let's go ahead and execute it real fast. So we're going to do a / and get pictures and hit enter. Oh yeah, I named it differently. I said photo cloud. Ours is called picture cloud. So let's take care of that real quick. There we go. Now we should be able to run it. There it goes. So now it runs without a hitch. Everything's good to go. So now we've got our shell script made. So now all we got to do is we got to edit our cron tab, and we need to add a cron job. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that. So we're going to type cron tab. Okay, my bad, guys. I forgot to add the E. We want to edit the cron tab. If you type cron tab, then you have to do the -E. So now it's going to ask you what to do. So you can choose either Nano or Vim Basic, Vim Tiny, whatever you want to do. I'm going to choose Vim because I like VI, but you guys might want to choose Nano. It's a little easier to use. Anyway, so this is your cron tab. Now, I want to show you guys, we'll give you a little piece of information, how cron tabs are laid out. So this comes from raspberrypi.org. But basically, what you've got is inside this cron tab. See, it's minutes, hours, day of month, month, day of week. Okay, so what this is doing is all these different asterisks that you see here, it's telling you how often you want this to run. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put in my config for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it up to go every minute. That's what the */1 is I'm setting it every minute. If you want it every 5 minutes, you just change that 1 to a 5. You would just change it to a 5 or whatever. I'm doing every minute. That's fine. And make sure you put in the full path, home pi getpictures.sh. And then what this does, this redirecting it to dev null, is that basically there's no output. So if there's any output or anything, it just redirects it to null. So there's no output. So that's basically what we have to do. Once you're done with that, you write that. You should get this installing new cron tab. And so now we should be good to go. So I've got some pictures in our pictures. I'm going to go ahead and update some of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our Dropbox over here, and I'm just going to delete one. We'll pick this 4701. Let's just delete that one, shall we? So if we delete it off of Dropbox, so remember that's the 4701. So now if we look at it, yeah, so we've got our 4701. Now if I type date, we should see, we're quite a ways away from the minute. So I may pause the video till it gets closer. So it should have been a minute now. And obviously it's not there anymore. So we have 175, 4701. So it's not there anymore. So it synced the directory. Same thing goes if I were to add something to my Dropbox, it would sync it up. So good, we got the rclone working. The next thing that we need to do is we need to install FBI. Yes, that FBI is what it's called, not the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but it is a picture displaying app, apt get install, and we're going to do I believe it's just FBI. And just like that, we got it installed, so we should be good to go. So we're going to type FBI, then we're going to do a -A -T 5. What that's going to mean is the time. That -T is for the time interval. So we're doing a slideshow, and we're doing it every 5 seconds, which is what the 5 is for. It's going to rotate pictures. You can make that longer, you can make that shorter, however you want to do it. And then we do a -T, and we want 2, because what that means is that's the HDMI output on it. Then we're going to do no verbose, because what happens is if you don't do no verbose, it'll display like the title and where it's from, so that on top of the picture. We don't want that. We want just the picture. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to say home pi, and then our folder. Helps if I can type. I haven't ever tried star. Let's do star and see what happens. So now before I hit enter, I'm going to go ahead and VNC back to our little device here. So we'll see if it comes up. Nope, it's not going to come up on the VNC. However, I have it behind me, and I can see that there is pictures. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need this to start when it boots. So we need to edit one of our system files, so that way it will start upon boot. All right. Now, to get this thing to auto start, we're gonna have to create an auto start script. VI, just like FBI start, let's say home pi pictures, and then star. So that way it gets everything in there. So we're going to go ahead and write that. We're going to change mode it and add the executes to it. FBI start. Now, to get to the LX sessions, it's in the etc xdg folder. And now, whoops, now there is the LX session. Put the directory list, it's right here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do our auto start. So we're going to do a sudo vim auto start. And then basically we're just going to put the path to that in there. So home pi, and then we've got the FBI start.sh. And that is pretty much it. Easy peasy. So now we're going to go ahead and I will shut it down and restart it, and we'll see if it'll start up. Okay guys, so we got it working. I only have one picture on here. I did notice one thing, which we'll jump back to the computer and I'll talk about here in a minute, but is the fact that when you delete pictures, it comes up with errors on this. So you have to restart it basically every time you synchronize the stuff, which I've got a one-line command that I'll show you how to do that. We'll jump back to the PC. But right now I'm going to go ahead and upload another picture. You should see this thing reboot basically, or basically reload, and then it should start the cycle over again, and it will switch to the flower once it starts going through, because now it will synchronize and it'll get both. So here we go, there's it rebooting,
And there it is. So it is functioning. And so let's jump back to the computer and I'll show you how to do that.
Okay, so real fast, sorry this video is so long, but I definitely wanted you guys to know what I did here. So if we VI our get pictures shell script, what we did was we added these two lines, basically one line to kill the process and one line to basically restart it right after it does the synchronization. So that's basically all we did, or at least all I did is to add that. And then now it synchronizes every time that, or it reboots it every time it synchronizes. And so that way you don't have any problems with errors.
Well guys, there it is, fully functional and put together. Came out really well. I'm actually very, very proud of this project. So I know that in this time of all this pandemic stuff and everything, we all get kind of bored. It's rough being stuck at home, but projects like these are always a good treat to keep your mind busy and keep things going. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to our first responders, to our medical people, to our police and fire, and all the people that are working so hard out in all of this mess. And thank you so much for watching too. All you guys watching helps out the channel and everything. We're getting close to almost 20,000 subscribers, which is mind-blowing to me. But yeah, I would like for you guys to give this one a shot. This one was actually a lot of fun to make. Apologize for this video being really long. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, please place something in the comments. Say something about, I don't know, let's say pictures. What's your favorite picture? Like, what would be your favorite ideal place to go? If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave that down in the comments. Let me know your favorite ideal place to go. Mine is someplace with mountains. So guys, thank you so much. Definitely check out the links down in the description. Got all the different code and everything down there, as well as the bill of materials, as usual, is down in the description, and everything else. So guys, I've taken up enough of your guys' time. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, please like and share the videos. It helps out the channel, and we will see you next time.